Hey guys, we're going to walk through the instructions to perform an oil change on a Honda 4-stroke GX35 engine. This also applies to the smaller GX25 engine and probably any other Honda 4-cycle small engine that you would need to perform an oil change on. So step one of the oil change process is to start the engine, let it warm up. That'll warm up the oil, agitate the oil, and kind of get anything that's been sitting in the bottom of the oil sump into the oil. That way when you pour out the oil, you'll make sure you get the most amount of contaminants out of the engine. So to start off, start your engine. You're going to let your engine run for probably a minute. 60 seconds should be sufficient. And then once you're done running the engine, turn it off. Let it sit for maybe 10-15 seconds, just to cool down a bit before you handle it. Step two is going to be to unscrew the oil fill cap. The oil fill cap in a GX35 and 25 engine is right here. So if you're looking at the rear of the engine, you have the gas on the left, you have the oil fill on the right. So you're just going to turn that, make sure you tilt it upwards so the oil doesn't spill out. Here's your dipstick, put that aside. Step three is going to be to pour the oil out of the sump by tilting the engine into a container. These engines don't hold much oil, as you can see. Make sure you clean around the oil spout with a clean rag. Now step four can vary. You have two basic options. One is you can put a funnel directly into the oil fill and then fill that. I found that to be a little messier just because it's kind of difficult to see how much oil you're putting in, and then at a certain point you might have a little bit too much in the actual funnel. You remove the funnel and that kind of dribbles and drips out and gets all over the gas tank at the bottom of the engine. Or I like to use a syringe with a rubber hose on it. I can extract oil directly out of the source. So for example, you can put it in your 10W30, which is the rated recommendation of the oil that you should be using, and then pull back on the syringe, fill up the syringe with oil, and then you take this plastic tube, insert it into the oil fill, and then push down the syringe to inject oil into the sump. So in this case, we're going to go through using a syringe, but you can choose whichever method you find most appropriate and best suited for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the syringe, put the oil fill tube into the oil, and pull back on the syringe to extract oil out of the container. Okay. Right here you can see I have my oil in the syringe, dripping on this rag right here. And now you're going to insert this into the oil fill, and then push down on the syringe to inject oil into the oil fill. And with this particular engine, you want to get it on a flat surface, and once it's on a flat surface, you're going to fill the oil until it hits the teeth of the oil fill where you screw in the actual oil fill cap. So repeat the process until you have enough oil in the actual sump. So I just filled up my syringe again. I'm going to place the hose in the oil fill and then inject more oil. So step 5 is to check your oil level. You can see it right here, right at the threads. On the side of the engine cover, here are the instructions for the oil. You can check the oil level using the dipstick, but right here you can see that the oil is marked in those dashed lines. This solid line right above is the upper limit for the oil, and you can see the threads. These are the bottom threads and the top threads on the aluminum where the dipstick enters and screws into the oil sump. You can see that the upper limit is right at the top of the bottom threads, which is right where our oil level currently is. So make sure to clean your dipstick and then insert it into the threads and screw down your dipstick. Snug it down, don't make it super tight, it's plastic. Wipe and clean up any drips of oil around the base of the oil fill or tank, gas tank. And then now you're all set. So those are the instructions on how to change the oil on a 4-stroke Honda GX35 engine. Hope you guys found this helpful. Thanks guys. Have a good one.